All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into this review on Married at First Sight. The Honeymoon Begins. I wish I was in Mexico. Ooh, looks so nice. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, welcome to our channel. My name is Kourtney, and my husband Eddie is not here because I'm doing this particular review solo. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we get into it, let me tell you what this channel is all about. This channel is about Kourtney and Eddie. We do relationship topics. We try to stay focused on topics that have to do with marriage, and we also do reviews. And right now I'm doing a solo on Married at First Sight. And let me put this out there. If this is your first time joining this channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you hit that like button and make sure that you follow us on Facebook as well as YouTube. Subscribe, join the club. Hey, get into it. And make sure that you comment down below and let us know what you think. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this review. I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I thought it was pretty good. But next week should be better because we're now seeing a little bit more of the real. Yeah. So it first starts off where they're waking up. Each one is kind of doing their own thing, whether they're waking up and eating breakfast or whether they're waking up in bed. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So the cutest couple, one of the cutest couples on the show as far as their connection is Amelia and Bennett. So they're talking and having small talk and stuff like that. And he said something about YOLO, which she was like, when he said it, he was like, you only love once, which I thought that was cute. I thought that was so cute. She was like, that's not what that means. So I think that he was surprised that he always thought that that's what that meant. But anyway, so let's move on to Karen and Miles. And what I'm liking now is about Karen and Miles as far as they're really getting down, from what we see, is to in depth. So they're kind of breaking down barriers and walls as far as in their relationship. I think there was Karen that asked, has he ever lived with anybody, has he ever, shared space with anybody? And so he was like, no. And she was like, she hasn't either. So it may be a little difficult for her to, or maybe she has to get used to sharing space with somebody. So she was like, so if I need my space, my time by myself or whatever, just kind of let me know. I may have to knock on the door or something like that. So, she's just kind of giving him the heads up as far as her. I want to talk about Karen later, but not right now. Okay, so let's move on to the most awkward couple on the show, Henry and Christina. Yeah, so they're out there eating breakfast. It looks like they're eating breakfast actually in their room, and it's still awkward between them. Now, people in the comment section said that Henry is autistic. I didn't know that. I don't really see signs of it, but of course I'm not well versed in it, so I don't know the signs to look for. I just feel like he's awkward in his, just awkward, and some people are just awkward. But tell me what you think. Do y'all think that Henry is autistic or what? So anyway, so they're eating breakfast, and so I think Henry was just kind of saying, how the other couples are and everything. And she said something. She said comparison is the oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't even read my own handwriting. I'm sorry, y'all. She said comparison is the thief of joy, which I agree with that. Even the Bible tells us not to compare ourselves with each other. It's not wise. So comparison is the thief of joy. And but I think later on she started comparing herself or them to the other couples as well. But anyway, so they talked about, them taking shots the night before and everything. And I don't know if they got Henry a little looser or what, but who knows. Okay, so let's move on to one of my favorite couples, which is Woody and Amani. I think they're out eating breakfast, and they, of course, started talking about, sex, and they haven't, from what we saw, consummated the marriage as of yet. And she was just saying that she's not experienced in that area much. I don't I don't think she didn't say she was a virgin or anything, but she just, probably haven't had many sexual partners. And he said that he's well experienced, which that ain't nothing to brag on, but okay. And so she was like, so I may need some, help. And she could have just been funny. You know what I'm saying? She could have just been funny. Let's move on to Olivia and Brett. Now, Brett is basically saying that they're talking about their last relationships and what was it like. Like I said, this part of the show is really getting into in depth as far as relationships. To me, the only person that ain't really getting that in depth is Henry and Christina. But Olivia was saying that her last relationship that she was last in, it's been 3.5 years ago. In which I guess for Brett, it kind of makes him like, okay, so how are you going to be? Are you going to be rusty at this thing or what? And his last, not relationship, but as far as when he dated, was 2 days before he got matched. And I could tell the look on her face was not like, okay. And she was like, well, how did it go? He said, well, we had a second date, and they would have had a third one if they wouldn't have got matched. And he said, I could see potential. We had great chemistry. We was kind of hitting it off. That's something that you tell your now current wife. You know what I'm saying? I would not want to be in those shoes. I would really feel some type of way. I'm just being honest, because he could have left all that out. He really, he could have said to a certain point, it was like, nah, whatever. But it's like, you didn't even have to divulge that information, because I think that now, we side-eyed you before, but I'm really finna side-eye you. Okay, so now let's move on to Christina and Henry. So they are out kayaking, and to me, it seems like Henry is loosening up. He's opening up a little bit more on, and he's talking a little bit more. So we may see Henry change, and we may see him, now getting comfortable with the cameras, comfortable with Christina and everything. So they're out kayaking and everything, and so he was saying that her rowing was making things worse, so he just pretty much told her to stop, and he'll handle it. So I thought it was cute. I thought that scene was really cute. He was saying stuff, in his confessional and everything, and yeah, I think it's cute. Now, I think that they're gonna make it as a couple? No, I'm still not sure in that. I'm not sure. I don't think that it's gonna last, but I do see that him opening up, and he's now seeming like he's taking the role of a husband or a boyfriend. Okay. Brett and so now the couples are, like I said, everybody's, out to breakfast or doing their own thing, and just kind of really and truly getting to know each other. And so Brett and Olivia, they're out and they're kind of like by the beach and stuff, and he was doing they were doing activities where now he done hurt his hand, and he got put the little tape on his hand because he got his hands bruised because he was doing the, like, whatever them things called, y'all. I never could do all of that. I couldn't go all the way with that thing. So he got his hands bruised from that. But they was out resting and chilling and stuff like that by the beach or by the water. And they just talk about their childhood. And one thing I did want to say, I did take notes of this, is that, he was just talking about how he grew up and everything. And he was like, they took family trips to Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores, which is in my home state of Alabama. In fact, we go to Gulf Shores quite often in Orange Beach, and if it wasn't this pandemic, we'd probably be there right about now, and I wouldn't even be feminist. I'm just saying. Okay, so it's beautiful. Gulf Shores is beautiful. Orange Beach is beautiful. So yeah, I did want to put that in there. So now let's move on to where the couples are all meeting up. Where they're all meeting up and they're, just kind of conversing and everything. So Woody, and this is something that they said there, that Woody did lose his ring with him and it was Amelia, Bennett, and it was Amani and Woody, and they were all swimming and I think over there hanging out with Bennett and Amelia, and Woody would kept jumping off the cliff or whatever, and he ended up losing his wedding band. Now Amani said, "You up there swimming all hard and stuff, and she's just like, you what? What, are you serious? Like, okay, well, You know, her face was a little shocked. She was like, okay, then, well, you just gotta tell people you married. But she was chilled about it. And he was glad that she was chilled about it. Now, one thing I do want to say, as far as a man's wedding band, when I got my husband, it was not that expensive. A woman's, yes, because it's full of diamonds or whatever she choose, or he choose for her, most of the time is way more expensive than a man's band, because most of the men don't have diamonds in it, and my husband's don't. I love the black band on my husband. It is just, oh my gosh, I love it. It looks so attractive on his hands. So I'm quite sure that she can, you know, they can go out, once they leave here, they can go, you know, there and find another band. That's easy part. He can pay for it since he lost it. All right, so he was telling the people that he lost his wedding band and stuff. So she was like, you know, so he gonna have to let people know, you know, whatever, that he is married and stuff like that, which I thought they're cute. And their chemistry is just so adorable. And everybody's talking about how their chemistry is, and they think that they, you know, consummated their marriage because they're so connected, so to speak. And, you know, as the experts seem like they did an amazing job with this particular couple. And as far as Amelia and Bennett, now Henry and Christina, okay, so Karen and Miles are saying how they are now moving and elevated from the tier of not knowing each other to, I say, stranger danger, to stranger, to familiar, to hey you, to buddy, to all these different levels as far as them getting to know each other. If it works for them, that's cute, but you know, I don't know. To me, when you come on a show, you are going to know that you're going to be married to a stranger. Why say that? Why can't you just say husband and wife? You know, is it that you don't feel that connected with that person to call them husband and wife? I don't know. I just don't know. I do understand it would be a little strange, but those are the things that I'm quite sure you knew ahead of time. I'm sure you watched previous shows where that happened. I just don't understand. I think Karen is, anyway, press pause. I'm gonna talk about that. Okay, so let's talk about Brett and Olivia, and people were just, you know, kind of going around saying, have y'all slept together yet? Have y'all consummated? And they said that they were going to keep it private, which I don't blame them one iota. I don't think it's nobody else's business whether you consummated your marriage or not. It's between whoever, you and your spouse. So I don't think that that's something you can share. Now, you can tell the cameraman, you can tell the camera people in your little confessional, we would like to know. But as far as being open with the rest of them, I think it kind of puts undue pressure, because you're going to compare yourself to the other ones and say, hey, they did, why we ain't doing, they did, you know what I'm saying? So you can't, to me, you shouldn't compare yourself in that area. So let's move on to what Henry did say. Now, this was probably not shocking, but shocking. Henry did say that and if y'all knew the chemistry or the distance between Henry and Christina, I think Christina was more to whoever was on her left, somebody leg, arm, or whatever. She was closer to that person than she was to Henry. It was such a gap. And I know that this could have been editing, because it seemed like sometimes they were close and then sometimes they were a little gap between them. But he said that he's never really approached a woman before at a bar. He's never done that, you know. And they was like, well, what made you come on this show? He was like, well, his brothers was like, well, go ahead and do it, you know. You ain't got nothing else to do. You ain't doing no killing time. Just go on, do it. I don't know if this was the right move for him to make, especially listen to somebody else, you know, because his personality is very different than everybody's personality on the show. So not saying that it won't work, but if you never really approach some woman, how can you deal with your spouse? I don't know, y'all. Okay, so let's move on to Woody and Amani date night, which I thought this was cute. I like the fact that, like I said, the couples are opening up. So they're sitting there eating and enjoying each other. And it seems like they're not afraid to talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're not afraid to talk about sex. They're not afraid to talk about what they need to talk about. And so they said that Amani said, I don't want to have a connection that's built on just sex, you know. And now we're connected, but is it really the sex that we're connected to, or we're just connected because we're married, because we vibe well? So you have to be very careful in that area, especially, even I say this, even when you're dating, when you put sex in it way too fast, you lose focus of why you're really and truly connected. So what is your true connection? But if you remove that out of it, then you can get to know the person. You can focus on the things you need to focus on, and then you can get to see each other for truly what that person is. And that's exactly what she's doing. She's following those same rules where she probably followed them when she was dating. But she said she began to talk about her last dating. She said that she found out the last guy that she was with was married. Now, I don't know how long she was with him before she found out. She said, and she told him, which is something very commendable, that she said, I would never make you pay for what happened to me, for what guys did or did not do. I won't make you pay for what they did to me. She said, I think that we were starting out, even in her past relationship, she said, we started out with great connections and they just fizzled. It just kind of, She says, so she don't know if it was her or what, but so she don't want to go into that same pattern with him. It seems like they're vibing right, they're connected well, just everything just great. And she don't want that to fizzle out. So she wants to just take her time and get to know each other and just build a friendship and then build that relationship and just see how it works. So, and he apologized for that happening to her, and just explained, he was that guy in the past, but he's not that guy anymore. So just kind of comfort her heart. Karen and Miles, they get into depth and they're talking about each other and basically the steps that they're taking. And so Miles explained, I think she asked, why did you want to do this? And he said, well, my parents got divorced when I was a young age, when he was like 9, and he's seen his grandparents, they stayed married until they were 55, and I guess they're still married now. And he wanted that. Let me tell you, Miles is you have women that want to be married, but you also have to keep in mind you have men that also want to be married. They don't like hopping from woman to woman. They don't like that single life. All men are not dogs. Some of them are that marrying type, family oriented. They just want that one woman, and they are, really and truly they are. So some men just enjoy being married. And it seems like Miles is that dude. And so Karen was talking about her last relationship and how the guy had a child outside their relationship, while they were together. And I can imagine, I can imagine, when I was married to my first husband, he had a child outside of our marriage. So I can imagine how hurtful that is. And so her trust level has to slowly go. But my question, Karen, is why would you take yourself out of that hurtful situation? Of course, I don't know how long it's been, and put yourself into something. It's almost like you're putting yourself out of that and you immediately press gas and you just gunning it. I just don't understand why Karen is on the show, to be honest. I don't know I don't know. Sometimes people, family members, and sometimes people watch our reviews and stuff. So I'm not trying to say anything negative, but I just don't know why Karen is on the show, to be honest. I don't think, from what I can see, that this was the right thing for her. She said that she was in a relationship, only 2 monogamous committed relationships, and she's 30, and I think Miles is 26, because they're talking about the age difference. And he said that he's been in like 10. So she's like, 10? So are you like a serial dater? Like, why you been in 10 relationships? So that kind of bothered her and made her nervous. And so I said this before it came back, and Miles said it. Miles is the marrying type of dude. The reason he was in 10 relationships before, because he was looking for committed women. He thought that those women were the one. Whether he got married at 21, whether he got married at 22, that's him. That's what he was looking for. Committed relationships that he can marry and see himself with this particular woman. So that's him. He's not finna just date you. He's not finna just, from what I can see, just play the field and just be out here with without being in a committed relationship. You know, he may have went out there and been single and did what he did, but his status was single. He wasn't involved with nobody. So he's just that marrying type of dude. So I see nothing wrong with it. Nothing, because it could have lasted 6 months. It could have lasted a year. You know, if he seen that he was really attracted, he was like, oh, we're finna go and lock that down. Hey, we together. Are we together? So he probably went ahead and locked that down. Where you may have been in 2 and they have lasted 3 or 4 years. His maybe have lasted a year or a year and a half. So, you know, I find nothing wrong with it. But let me move on. So, Amelia and Bennett, they go on, and, you know, we talked about last episode that it was a dress, but he said it's a nightgown. So we're going to correct that. It's a nightgown. Okay, Bennett. And he was just talking about his childhood and how his mom had cancer, and just made him change his thinking on life and everything. And she just pretty much said that she had a happy childhood. All right, girl. Good for you. Praise the Lord. Let's go on to Bennett and Olivia. Not Bennett, Brett and Olivia. They was talking about peeing and, you know, peeing in front. Let me tell you something. My husband don't like he don't like no peeing in front of him, and showing up he don't even want to hear it. I'm like, okay, I'm not finna cut the water on so you can hear me use the restroom. So I'm just saying, we is married. So, but everybody got their quirks, whatever you want to call it, and it is what it is. So another thing that Brett did say is that previously he was engaged and he was a serial dater. Now, all of these things just makes Olivia's face just like, she just looks flushed every time he starts saying it. Now, and she said, listen, I want my husband to be open and honest with me. That's the way I'm going to get to know him and all that stuff. But I think it's just a bit much. Like, slow down, bro. You had already said that you had a potential date before you got matched to the show. Now you finna say that you was engaged and all that stuff. But he said that he's not a cheater. Actually, she cheated on him. That's kind of hard for me to believe, but okay. We gonna go with that what you said, bro. We gonna go with that what you said. All right. Okay, so now let's go on that speedboat that they was on. So it was Miles and Karen, and it was Amani, and it was Woody. So they was going on the bus trip because you got to get to the place. And so, you know, they got this. Well, Miles got this joke and calling Karen a cougar. Now, and it seems like a four-year age difference. Which I don't think that she's a cougar, but, you know, hey, the experts matched them up, and she may have put a date range in her, you know, age range within her thing, which is fine. You know, she could have said, you know, from 25 to 35. I don't know, but he's making a joke of it, you know, I guess just kind of lighten the mood or whatever. And she's afraid, first of all, she's tired of hearing that she don't like it. And she's afraid that is a part of his immaturity and stuff. But hey, we all got some level of immaturity. You know, I play a lot. I like to joke. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. But if it's getting on her nerves, he needs to stop. And hopefully, you know, Woody and Amani told him, like, bro, stop, chill with that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And in fact, me and my husband is a 4-year age difference, and I used to kind of play with him about that. He was like, stop. And when I kept playing, call him old man and all that stuff, and told him he robbed the cradle. He was like, okay, stop. So when I tell it got on his nerves, then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna chill on that. So I hadn't done that in a while. And so, but yeah, therefore, year age difference, sometimes it's different for a man versus a woman. So when a woman is older, then they want to call her a cougar. When a man is older, it is what it is, because normally that's how it works. All right, so they get on the speedboat, which they said they had so much fun. And I guess it looks like fun too. You know, I can't swim, but, you know, I ain't trying to get plopped out no boat. So anyway, and I think it was a good experience. I do like that Miles and Woody are best friends, and they're able to, you know, do things, you know, with their black love on this show. So I thought that this was a change of pace and everything, because I've never known them to have friends like that on the show. So let's move on to the activity with Henry and Christina were sightseeing. Now, Henry is just Henry. If y'all been watching from the beginning, Henry just Henry. I think he's a clean freak. He's OCD, all that stuff or whatever. But for whatever reason, Christina wanted to do this little mud bath type thing and you go down. I wouldn't even want to do that, not unless it's gonna help my skin or purify, do something to my body. But he didn't want to get his hair wet and all that stuff. So she was like, why you want to do it? And I'm saying to myself, why would you want to do it? But okay. So they talked about that. Now let's move on to Amelia and Bennett and how they were playing that big chess, the big chess. I never played that where you got the big pieces about almost size as you, half size of you. And so the question was that, about as far as her previous relationships, is that she was a person that moved a lot. Now, he said for him, it seems like he was too nice. She was like, well, it sounds like you was too nice in your relationships. And he was like, yeah, I guess for her, it sounds like the reason that her relationship didn't last because she moved a lot. And so he asked her, and she was just talking about moving for residency and stuff like that. And he asked her a question, and she didn't answer it, or they didn't show it. Now, it could have been editing, but they did not show it. Maybe it's something they're going to talk about next week. And so he was just asking her, when you're in medical school, do you plan? And they talked about this before. They talked about it, her moving as far as residency and all that stuff, or whatever. And he said to his family, it really and truly wouldn't be, to her family, it wouldn't be a problem if he, of course, fell in love with her. But it seems like she's not just moving once, but she's moving consistently. So, and she never did answer the question. Now, that was pretty much all for me. Like I said, this was a 2-hour show. That is condensed without all the commercials, maybe a little over an hour. And they did go into more details, so which is why this review may be a little bit more longer, because I wanted to kind of talk about the details of each person's relationship. As you can see, hearing Christina, to me, unless we haven't seen it, haven't went into depth and talking in depth like some of the other couples, as far as their intimate relationships and the things that they want to do in the past and all that stuff or whatever. So it is what it is. After that, it seemed like they enjoyed it. Next week's supposed to be good. We maybe get into a little bit more in depth about other things and maybe have a little, everything won't be so light and fluffy. All right, you guys, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below. If you're watching via Facebook, make sure that you like and follow. If you're watching this via YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to this amazing channel. So much more content coming for you guys. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to go with God and let God do what? Go with you. All right, you guys. Deuces.